Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Driving Perilously, the show in which we turn on the radio and talk about what it is that's going on.
Buy-up feature where you can pay a small fee, 1% or less.
So what it is that's going on? Well, it's a Saturday.
It's in us. We're to love. So we can't do that. It's not natural for us because we was born in sin, shaped in iniquity.
What it is a Saturday. And that means it's going to be busy at work, hopefully. We're getting lots of new species, slowly one at a time. And what else is going on? Well, you can see I don't have a roll. Well, you can't see anything because the sun is behind me. But my hair's very long. You can see I don't have a roll unless I'm playing a hippie or something. A homeless person. Just letting everything grow. And we'll see what happens next. So I had a bunch of auditions that were unsuccessful. I would say that as far as auditions go, that's what auditions are like. Most of them are going to be unsuccessful. But hey, I got a lot of performances in December that I was privileged to do in a more prestigious group. Sound of Music was a triumphant? The Sound of Music was a resounding, triumphant success, and I really liked my part in it. I always end up liking the play better after I do it. I'm pretty sure some people get sick of the play that they do because you hear it so often. But I always end up liking it. I always end up seeing more references and I appreciate it more because I see what the author is, or what the playwright has done. I see how they've developed a character in a way that I didn't really notice the first couple times. I see how they've incorporated a musical phrase or a reference to something we've already heard. I see how the script fits together in a more, I can be more objective about it. When I first see a play or see the script or read the script or whatever, at first I don't notice a lot of the things that become apparent after I've done the show. So I always end up liking the show more after I've done it. And I always end up liking my character and think, oh, that was a good character for me. So when I audition, I might not know what part I want, or I may think I want a certain part, but once the process is over and I've played that character a couple times and developed it and then played it a couple times, I always end up thinking, wow, that's the character I wanted. But of course, that's just partly confirmation bias. If I had played a different character, I would have come to appreciate that character and see how I was fortunate to bring that particular one to life. But in this one, got to play the bad guy, which is nice. I like to play the bad guy. And he gets a little comeuppance, and I think when the short guy gets a little comeuppance, it works. Because people naturally want to root for the tall guy. So when the short guy gets told off or told to sit down or whatever, that's effective. That's what happened to me in Footloose. I was probably the meanest character in the show, and then he's told by the preacher's wife to sit down and shut up. And this one time, the audience member clapped. And that's how it should have been, is when people see the bad guy get what they deserve or get a little slap down, when the audience actually claps, that's the reaction. But hopefully people feel that even when they don't do it. From teaching classes, I know absolutely that people's response is not commensurate with their feelings. Sure, there are times when the audience jumps to their feet and obviously they're happy, but you can teach a class and there can be people in it who are just glaring at you and it looks like they're so bored or they're so hateful or they're just so disappointed. And then they come up to you after the class just gushing with how wonderful of a class it was and what a wonderful teacher you are. So that actually happens quite a bit. You'll have someone who seems to be antagonistically asking questions, and then you find out that the reason they're even engaging with the material is that they think I've done this spectacular job of teaching, but the look on their face looks like they just would want to kill me. So I know there are audience members who are sitting there in silence, who are really having a moving experience. And conversely, there are audience members who tell you it's the best show they've ever seen. And it's really not the best show they've ever seen. They're being nice. And people's reactions just vary. I know I've sat in a movie theater and hated a movie and then seen it again and loved it. And a movie is the same every time. But a play is not the same every time. It's different every time. So many variables. They have to happen at a certain time. So there's little delays and little changes, and somebody forgets a line or somebody forgets to put a prop out there or something. Things happen just differently every single time. And once that performance is over, that performance is over. That's why I really like my film. I call it my 6 minutes of stardom, because it is there and I can watch it anytime. And I don't really need to watch it that often, but I can watch it anytime. And even when a play is filmed, that's not the experience that anybody had in that theater. It's a nice approximation. It's nice to have a play that's filmed, but a film is rewatchable in its intended form again and again. And I'm really glad I have one. So it's going to be a busy day. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot of a day. We had a baby scimitar horned oryx born the other day. Scimitar horned oryx is, I don't know if it's technically an antelope, but one of those four-legged hoofstock creatures, which there are many of. We have many different kinds of. And its horn looks a lot like a scimitar, which is a Middle Eastern sword shape. And they were extinct in the wild. So zoos kept scimitar-horned oryxes alive and bred them. We just had one born, and several this year, but one was just a couple days ago. And they've been reintroduced into the wild. So that's a great thing. Our rhino breeding program is doing really well, and 2 baby giraffes, 2 baby chimps, 2 baby monkeys, 2 baby gibbons. Things are going well. So we are doing something for these species that are in trouble, which is just awesome in my opinion. So I guess that's everything for this Saturday. Yesterday I got a gig. Easter. So I will shave for Easter. I won't look like this. Unless, of course, I get a job that requires a beard. But I do not see that happening. And I will be more respectable looking for the highest holy day of the year, which, of course, is Easter. So Easter really illustrates to me a difference in our culture that's happened since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, there were two focuses of the year. There was Easter and there was Christmas. And Easter's really faded away. I don't know if Easter's faded away in my consciousness because I've encountered many things that aren't the church. So the church was part of, a bigger part of my consciousness when I was a child, and now I've become, influenced by all these other things that aren't the church, or if Easter has faded from the popular culture as well. And it's probably both things. But when I was a little kid, Easter was right up there with Christmas in its importance and in its special time of year-ness. And now I would say Easter is just, less important to the culture than Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day. So we are in that time of year when we're in between St. Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, and people say, or can write on their card, Happy St. Patrick's Day, Happy St. Valentine's Day. But they can also say Happy Valentine's Day, but they never ever say Happy Patrick's Day. So that's just another example of things changing over the years. But in this case, centuries. I guess Valentine isn't really a name. Patrick is a common name. And so they need to specify the saint, because it's not your friend Patrick's Day, it's St. Patrick's Day, whereas Valentine has turned into Valentine's, which I just don't get that one at all. Valentines and Valentines, and this just drives me crazy, which of course is a short trip. So that's it for this edition, the end of February, with the light behind me, and I'll catch you on the next one.